Now is one of the greatest times to be starting an AI SaaS business. Here's the big question though. If you're gonna take that risk, if you're gonna quit that job, start that company, how do you pick the right idea? Especially now when it's easier than ever to start a business, easier than ever to build a product, vibe code a product, and easier than ever to start to get some initial attention. How do you make sure that you are actually picking the right idea that will turn into a real business? In this episode, I'm gonna walk you through seven key AI SaaS ideas that I really like. But I'm gonna do you one better. Instead of just giving you the ideas, I'm gonna walk you through the exact framework that I follow to develop these ideas and test it in the market. And that way, you can either steal one of these ideas or you can follow my framework to develop your own idea. Either way, it will help you get to that point where you're pursuing the right idea and driving your path and accelerating your path to that next stage of growth, which is product market fit and revenues for you. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help AI and SaaS founders like you grow your businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your AI or SaaS business faster. So if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS and AI go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Now, if you've been a follower of this channel for some time, you kind of know my story. When I first got started in SaaS, I used to have a day job and I was experimenting with different ideas. And what I would do is have a very strict schedule because I couldn't quit my job and just do cold turkey. I didn't have a trust fund or any of those things. So what I would do is I would wake up super early in the morning. I would quickly get dressed. And then for the first 2 hours in the morning before my 9 to 5, I would work on my side project, my ideas. And then I would go rush to work, get there by 9. I would crank through the day and I would leave right at 5. I would come back home. I'd quickly get changed and I'd go back to work and work into the evening on, again, my side project. Now, this was a really grueling schedule and obviously it was part of the journey that I needed to go through. But at the same time, the product that I built so painstakingly, once I quote unquote launched it, it was crickets. No one actually wanted it. It really didn't gain traction. Through that journey, I learned that it's very easy to start pursuing an idea, but end up building a product after working nights and weekends and grueling away to end up with something that no one actually wants. Fast forward to today, I've started and exited multiple SaaS companies and I've coached hundreds of founders from the pre-revenue stage to upwards of 100 million in ARR. And I've really learned the mechanics of what it takes to go from that 0 to 1. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the exact 3-step process that I follow to develop AI SaaS ideas today. And as part of that, I'm gonna give you 7 AI SaaS ideas that get developed through this process. I'm gonna be using a custom GPT tool that I developed, so I'll show you exactly how it works. And that way, either you'll steal one of these 7 AI SaaS ideas, or you can use this framework to develop your own and test it in the market. Either way, it's my sincere intention that you end up as a successful entrepreneur, a successful SaaS founder as part of this unstoppable community. So if you're excited to dig into principle number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm and let's dig right in. So principle number 1, this is the thing about ideas that people get wrong right in the beginning and that I got wrong, the baby TK got wrong, is step number 1 is to first pick a market. Don't just look for technologies, don't just look for ideas. Pick a specific market that you want to be serving. Ideally, a market should be a market that you're already connected to. So for example, if you are a single dude that's never been married, it's probably not a good idea to go target the wedding industry because you have no domain knowledge around it. The best founders pick markets where they have domain knowledge, where they have some experience, where they have an existing network. They just know they have enough of an information advantage so they can get a head start on that. So step number 1 is to really pick the market so you're developing these ideas. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this custom GPT tool that I've developed that helps me pick a market and then develop ideas. I'm gonna show you the exact process that I follow. So let's dig into that. Okay, So this is my unstoppable ideas generator. Whenever I'm working with founders that are in the super early stages, they're like, TK, I want to start a company. They might be engineers. They might have a co-founder as an engineer, but they don't want to waste time building the wrong product. And they don't want to build something differentiated because SaaS and AI is so crowded right now. I always give them this unstoppable ideas generator. And what this does is it follows the same framework that I'm going to be teaching you. The first part of the framework is what is your target market? So in this scenario, what I really want to do is I want to target the accountants. I'm in the US, so I want to target accountants. And what it'll do is it'll say, cool, let's first clarify the market. So it'll say, hey, small business accountants, accounting financial services, solo to 50 employees, region. Would you like to focus further? Now, specifically to me, the AI ideas that I want to generate, the framework that I want to follow is I really want something to be product-led. People can check out the demo, try the product, swipe the credit card. So I really don't want to have a sales process for this specific set. So what I want to do is actually clarify this more and say, solo accountants. I want to focus on solo accountants because that way, these are just people and they're much more willing to try out a product and swipe the credit card instead of getting on a sales process, whereas full firm might have multiple decision makers and quite honestly might not have that much budget. Once I do that, it says, okay, cool, here's the clarified one. With this tool, the way I've designed it is you can still have conversations around it. So one thing you could do is say like, well, how big is this market? And it'll do its best to kind of understand like, well, how big is this market and do some calculations around it. So it'll search the web. So you know what, there's approximately 34,900 solo accountants. I don't know if that's fully true. I know it's like a big enough market and I do have some connections into this market, so I like it. There's some broader context here. These revenue numbers seem a little bit high, but still it's a real thing. I do believe there's a good number of solo accountants out there. Now that I have the market dialed in and I've gotten specific enough around the market and I've started to think about like, well, how do I want to target them? Here comes the next step. Let's go back over here. Now, the next step is to start pontificating about, well, what do accountants need and how do I solve the problem? What can I build for them? I like to take a different approach. What I like to do is say, cool, if I'm going after this specific market, how do I really understand how their lives work, how their jobs work? So there's this thing called the jobs to be done framework. This is step number 2. The jobs to be done framework is essentially a mental model that helps you understand what are the key jobs that an accountant, or specifically here, a solo accountant needs to do on a daily basis. Because the idea is no one really wants to buy more software. They want to solve problems. And ideally, they want to solve problems in their job because that way, they're like, I'll spend $9 on this tool or $30 on this tool, but I make this much, so it's worth it. It's an ROI decision. So the key here is what I'm going to do is I want to target accountants, solo accountants, but I really want to first understand what they do on a day-to-day basis that I can actually solve a problem around. So this is where this tool goes into next. So let's dig into it. Okay, so what this will say is like, hey, would you like to proceed with the JTBD exploration? So I've already trained this on the jobs to be done framework. So I said, yes, please. I always say please, even though it costs OpenAI more. Cool. So what it'll do now is it'll flesh out for me all the jobs that a solo accountant is responsible for in their day-to-day basis. So you'll notice over here, they have to get new clients. Ideally, what's interesting is if you're a solo accountant, if you're solo anything, even an entrepreneur, job number 1 is always to get new revenue. Then it's to actually do the job you got their clients for. So that's true over here, acquire new clients, consistent flow of qualified leads. That's number 1 for them. Number 2 is manage client workflows, actually serve the clients, handle tax prep, provide real-time financial insights, stay compliant with regulations, manage invoicing and payments, and automate repetitive admin tasks. You're starting to see the understanding here where it's starting to understand like what are all the things they have to do? Why is this important? What are potential pain points? And what are the existing tools that they're already using? And you'll notice over here, they're already using QuickBooks, Calendly. There's some smaller ones like TaxSlayer, Google Sheets, Asana. You're starting to understand what their lives look like. This is why domain knowledge is so important because ChatGPT is doing a pretty good job, but it may not get it perfect, which is why you need to be able to look at this and say, hey, is this right? Is this off? It gives you a head start, but domain knowledge is so important. Now, once you have the jobs to be done, the next thing that I really try to understand is, well, out of all these jobs to be done, I want to solve a part of the job that has the greatest pain factor and has the greatest frequency. Pain and frequency is two of the biggest things I look for because if they have a problem, but they don't have that problem very often, it's like once a year, then they're not going to buy my SaaS product. And if they have a problem, but it's not that high, it's not that painful, they're not going to buy my SaaS product. So one of the things I really try to understand is how often is this happening, this problem and this job that needs to be done, and how painful is it? So what it'll do now is score these based on pain times frequency. And I said, yes, again, my job is super easy with this thing. So then it'll go through this again and reprioritize these based on pain and frequency and give it an impact score. So number one, acquire new clients. And this is kind of true for any business. Acquiring new clients is always number one. People need more revenue, they need more leads. So you'll notice that that's a pain level of 5 and a frequency of 4, particularly high because these are accountants, not marketers or salespeople. They don't really want to do that, but they have to learn how to get good at it. So that's why it's super important. The second one is manage client workflows. This is super interesting because they get clients and they got to manage all these clients. And then it's their actual job of handling the tax preparation, providing insights, staying compliant. So it kind of sorts it that way. This is really good because already, if you look at it through this lens of accountants and their jobs to be done and the pain and the frequency, you can already start to get some ideas. I'm already getting some ideas, I'm sure you are too, of the problems that you can solve using AI and using SaaS today, which is super powerful. So then it'll say, look, these are the top 3. Number 1 is acquiring new clients. Number 2 is managing client workflows. And number 3 is automating the repetitive admin tasks. And what you can do is argue with it. You can say, I don't know, I really like this providing real-time financial insights. And you can argue with it. I'm like, what about this one? And I actually think that might be more interesting. And it'll say, hey, you know what? Excellent observation. That's true. That might be something that you want to prioritize more of. It gives it an impact score of 16. I think personally, if you sell to solo accountants and you give them an AI tool that'll analyze the P&L for all their clients and give them real-time insights, that could be really, really powerful. So that's something for you to think about. But what this process does is it gets you to start thinking in terms of the customer, their lives, their day-to-day, their problems, and how you can solve for it using AI and a SaaS product. By the way, if you're getting value from this, which hopefully you are, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's keep going. Finally, what this will do is say, cool, these are the top 3. Do you want to now understand where the opportunity is? Now, the thing a lot of founders don't understand is just because there's a problem doesn't mean that there's already a good solution. SaaS is crowded. AI is crowded. Everyone's getting pitched on products today. What you really want to understand is where is the white space? What is an underserved part of the market? What is a problem that's not being solved that you can solve 10 times better using your AI product and your SaaS product? And that's what this tries to figure out. So I say, yeah, let's go ahead and figure that out. They'll say, cool, I'll analyze the competitive landscape and uncover a 10x wedge opportunity. That's what I trained it to do. I look for 10x opportunities. What it does then is it says, cool, for each of these jobs, here are the existing solutions, here's the pricing models, here are the weaknesses, and here's the 10x opportunity. This is where the actual ideas come into play. But before I dig into the ideas, let me pause here for a second. So in our map over here, we started with a specific market instead of just a random idea. Then we said, cool, what is their day-to-day job? What are the pain points? What's a pain point that happens on a high frequency basis that I can potentially solve? And then I start to understand what's the competitive dynamics. And then I start to say like, cool, what can we actually build? This is where we get to the 7 ideas. Now, let me pause here before I jump into the actual 7 ideas. Are you starting to see the power in this? What I wanted to teach you here is how to develop the right idea for you. There are so many YouTube videos out there with like, here are 7 great billion-dollar ideas. And it's like, bro, if it's that good, why aren't you doing it yourself? And also, by the time you publish this video, 50 people are gonna be building it. Now it's a competitive market. I kind of hate those videos, but I also understand you're looking for inspiration. So what I wanted to do, the approach I wanted to take in this episode was, let me just show you how I develop ideas. And then either steal one of these ideas, I'll show you the 7 ideas. This thing actually generates 25 of them, so I'll show you the first 7. Or you can follow this framework to develop your own idea. The whole goal here is to make sure that you don't waste months building the wrong thing, because that's the worst thing. I've been there. Maybe you've been there too. So if you're seeing the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. I drop an episode every Sunday from the trenches with actionable strategies like this. Also, if you're in this stage where you're like honing in on an idea, when you're trying different ideas and you want to stress test it, you want to test it in the market, make sure you grab a copy of my 10-point AI and SaaS business checklist. It's 10 questions to ask to really validate and test something in the market, so you don't waste months building the wrong product. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below. I'll also tell you more about it at the end of this episode. Let's go to principle number 3. Principle number 3 is to actually dig into each of the ideas and test it in the market and see if it's an urgent and important problem. So as promised, let me dig into some of these specific ideas that it's coming up with for small solo accountants. Okay, let's go over here. And so now that you have a map of what are the existing solutions, what's the opportunity, it's starting to tease some ideas. So for example, you could do an AI-powered client matcher based on accountant niche, compliance needs, and pricing preferences. You could do an AI-driven workflow builder, preloaded for solo accountants. You could do a no-code AI automation for recurring accounting tasks. You could do AI-powered financial dashboards with real-time sync, anomaly detection, and client-ready insights. This one I really like. It'll already start to figure out like, hey, what's the status quo for these people? And what are some unique new ways you can solve these problems for them? So now what it'll say is like, hey, based on all of this, this is how like even I trained the model. This is how I've designed this GPT. First, it figures out the target market, does the research on that market, understands the jobs to be done, understands the competitive dynamics, and then comes up with ideas. And that's why the GPT is a lot more effective. And that's why you're going to be more effective than just a bunch of random ideas. Okay, so now we're going to get into actual ideas. Someone said, do you want to look at the ideas? I'm like, yes, give me the ideas. And it'll generate 25 ideas for me for this target market. And I'm going to walk you through the first 7. Okay, the first 7, let's see, it's generating all these. It's going to do 25 AI SaaS ideas for solo accountants. And the way I have designed this is it'll first do the jobs to be done, the summary of the idea, what data sources you can tap into to help fulfill this idea, how you can use AI, the value prop, the pricing, and the 10x advantage, why you're 10 times better. So that's the whole thesis laid out for you. Let's actually look at these. Number 1, acquire new clients. So you could do an AI client matcher. This is where you can look at public directories and LinkedIn, and you can do profile matching, connect with pre-qualified clients that fit your niche. So you can say, look, I'll look at your current client list, and I'll look at where you're really great, point me to LinkedIn, and I'll identify people that are perfect for you and help you reach out to them and show that, hey, I'm the right accountant for you. So that's pretty cool. It ties into your number 1 jobs to be done. And this is specifically for solo accountants. So you can really get super targeted in your marketing over here. Second one, acquire new clients, smart proposal generator. This is cool. You can look at what has worked well in terms of templates and past engagements, and you can generate the proposals based on meetings. You could monitor the first meeting, you can look at the challenges they're facing and generate the proposal for these solo accountants who don't really know sales and marketing and help them win more customers. So that's really powerful. Again, it really likes acquiring new clients. So AI-powered LinkedIn outreach tool, that's pretty cool. It'll help you do personalized outreach just for accountants. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to skip the acquire because there's a bunch of acquire ones. I want to go to some of my favorites. I'm going to keep going down here. Provide financial insights. I really think this is one of the biggest opportunities for this specific market because these accountants they spend all their time making sure there's clean data in terms of their books, their expenses, all that stuff. What's missing is that CFO level partnership of, hey, based on your P&L, your expenses, here's how we can really improve your business or improve your books. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for AI here where if you give every accountant sort of a AI CFO that they can use with all their clients, that way they look like a stud. That's super powerful. So here, let's see if it came up with some of those. Real-time financial dashboard. So you can integrate with all the accounting software, the P&L and everything. And it can do instant visibility into client finances with AI alerts. Anomaly detection and insights. So if they're headed for a cash crunch, if they're overspending, if they're out of budget, all these things can be super powerful. It also did predictive cash flow forecaster. That's really cool. You can look at the transaction and invoice data. You can build an AI model to forecast cash trends. And you can give the accountant like, hey, we'll look at all your client data and do cash flow risks before they impact your clients. That way you look like a stud. How much would you pay for that? Super powerful. KPI tracker with AI benchmarks. So you can look at the industry data. What are the benchmarks in a specific industry? You can compare it to the client data. And you can look at how they're doing based on benchmark in terms of KPIs and finances, profit margins, time it takes to collect cash, runway, all of those things. Cost of acquiring a lead, all of those you can do benchmarks. That's super powerful as well. AI-powered client report generator. That's also cool. If you could do a quarterly report that's CFO level for the accountants, and it's done for you automatically based on all the data, that's super powerful. And then let's do one more. I think I've given you 7. By the way, if you're loving these ideas, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. See number 25, automate admin tasks. This is the last category it had. AI renewal tracker for contracts. That's kind of cool. Look at which clients are coming up for renewals. Make sure that they never miss a renewal opportunity. Again, specific for accountants. Okay, so the last thing this tool will do is like, hey, based on all of this, would you help me prioritize the top 3 ideas? So I'm gonna say, yeah, absolutely, please do all my work for me. It'll prioritize the top 3 ideas now, and it'll say like, hey, look, we'll prioritize based on the jobs to be done importance, the MVP simplicity, the competitive gap, and the access to the data. So we'll do it that way. So based on that, you'll say, look, number 1 is the AI client matcher for accountants. Okay, solves number 1, how do I find the next client? The second one is AI-powered financial dashboard. I knew it. I knew this was going to be one of the best ones. I had to push it on it. This is where domain knowledge helps, right? Or a little bit of logic helps. As good as these GPTs are, it still needs your human brain. Number 2 idea is AI-powered financial dashboard. I think this is going to be a billion-dollar company in multiple segments, like seriously. And number 3 is document request automation with AI. There's a lot of admin-heavy stuff around requesting documents and data for accountants, so you could do that as well as sort of an AI agent. Okay, cool. Let's start to bring all this together. To kind of bring all this together, where I started was, hey, what's the target market? So I can develop my idea. Number 2, what's their job to be done? What's the jobs to be done for this specific market? What are the pain points? How frequent are these pain points? And then based on that, what are the ideas? And based on those ideas, I can actually narrow it down based on how much of a pain is it? Is it an urgent, important problem? How frequent is it? And based on that, I can now start to go out there and test the idea. So what I wanted to do for you in this episode was give you 7 actual ideas, and I think give you more than that, but also show you how I develop ideas. And what you do now is either steal one of these ideas, which I encourage you to do, and run with it, or use this framework to actually develop your own set of ideas. Now, what you may need next is, hey, TK, how do I test this idea? I want to make sure I don't waste months building the wrong thing. This theoretically sounds good. GPT says it's good, but how do I test it? So this is why I created my 10-point SaaS business checklist. It's 10 steps to testing an idea, the questions you should be asking. So to grab a copy of that, just go to tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. On that page, you just put in your email. It's completely free, and you'll get access to my checklist. And you'll also get details on how to get access to this GPT tool that I built. Now, if you got value from this video, which hopefully you did since you're still watching, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, and you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. Also, if you have a fellow co-founder, if you have a potential founder that you want to build a company with, if you're part of a Slack group or WhatsApp group of other aspiring founders, please share this video with them. We want to serve as many founders as possible in building incredible companies as part of this unstoppable movement. That's why I do this. That's why I put so much love into these videos. Also, if you have questions on anything that I've shared, put it in the comments. I always respond. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the 10-point SaaS business checklist or the Ideas Blueprint, which has this custom GPT tool, all in the link below, or go to tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. Take care, everybody. And it would help if we turned on the audio. All right, let's redo this. Let's take it from the top.